Luca Moretti sat in the corner booth of Rossini's Italian restaurant, his favorite table with a clear view of every entrance and exit. Old habits from a dangerous life. Angelo, his underboss, sat across from him, discussing the week's business in voices too low for anyone else to hear. "The Russos are pushing again," Angelo murmured, testing boundaries. "They hit one of our—" "Handle it," Luca said, his attention caught by movement across the restaurant. The waitress. He recognized her immediately, though it took him a moment to place her. 6 months ago, outside this very restaurant, late at night, he'd been leaving a meeting when he'd seen her, young, pretty, crying, 3 drunk men harassing her, grabbing at her, making crude suggestions. She'd been shaking, terrified, helpless. Luca's men had intervened, scared the drunks away. He'd asked if she was okay. She could barely speak through her tears, just nodded frantically and ran inside. He'd thought, fragile, weak, the kind of woman who needs a man to protect her. Now she was taking orders from the table next to them, professional and efficient, her dark hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, her movements graceful. She wore the standard Rossini's uniform, black pants, white shirt, black apron, and somehow made it look elegant. She glanced his way, recognition flickering across her face. A brief nod of acknowledgement, maybe gratitude for that night. Then she moved on. "Boss!" Angelo prompted. "I said handle it," Luca repeated, still watching her. "You know her? Saw her once. She works here." Luca turned back to his wine. "Doesn't matter." That's when the front door burst open. 3 men, all wearing ski masks, all carrying guns. Everyone down. This is a robbery. The restaurant erupted in chaos. Customers screamed, dove under tables. Staff froze in terror. Plates crashed to the floor. A woman sobbed. Luca didn't move. He'd seen worse. Angelo's hand went to the weapon concealed under his jacket, but Luca shook his head slightly. Wait. The first robber, the one who'd shouted, moved toward the hostess stand where the cash register sat. "Open it. Now!" The elderly hostess fumbled with shaking hands. Couldn't get the register open. Faster. The robber raised his gun toward her. That's when Luca saw the waitress move. "Mia." Her name tag said Mia. While everyone else panicked or hid, she moved. No hesitation. No fear visible in her face. Just smooth, purposeful movement. She crossed the distance to the first robber in seconds before he registered the threat. She had his gun hand, twisted it with a move so professional and practiced that Luca recognized it immediately. Military training. The gun clattered to the floor. The robber screamed as his arm bent at an unnatural angle. Mia swept his legs, and he went down hard. The second robber spun toward her, gun rising. She was already moving. A serving tray became a weapon. She struck his wrist with the edge. The impact made him drop the gun. She followed with an elbow to his face. Blood spurted from his broken nose. He dropped like a stone. The third robber, the apparent leader, aimed directly at her. "Don't move." Luca's hand was on his own weapon, ready to end this, but Mia raised her hands calmly, completely composed despite having a gun pointed at her face. "You don't want to shoot me. Get on the ground." "No." Her voice was steady, authoritative. "Look around. Your partners are down. The police are already coming." She gestured slightly toward a customer clearly on a 911 call. "And you're surrounded by witnesses. But you haven't hurt anyone yet. That matters. Walk away now. You'll do less time. Much less time." I said, "Get down." I'm a combat medic. Army. Served 3 tours in Afghanistan. She took one small step forward, her hand still raised. "I've been shot at by insurgents. I've had RPGs explode 10 feet away. I've operated on soldiers while under fire. So when I say you don't scare me, I'm not being brave. I'm being honest." The robber's hand shook. "I've also saved the lives of men who, minutes before, were trying to kill me," Mia continued, her voice almost gentle now. "Because that's what medics do. We save lives. Even when it's hard. Even when we're scared. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to put that gun down very carefully. You're going to sit on the floor with your hands behind your head, and you're going to wait for the police. Because the alternative is me taking that gun away from you. And unlike your friends, you'll be going to hospital before you go to jail. Your choice. Easy way or hard way. Silence. Luca watched, absolutely transfixed. This was not the crying, terrified woman he'd seen 6 months ago. This was a warrior. The robber's resolve crumbled. The gun lowered. He set it carefully on the floor and sat down, hands behind his head. Police sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Mia picked up all 3 weapons with practiced ease, unloaded them efficiently, and set them on the hostess stand. Then she checked on the 2 downed robbers, the medic and her making sure their injuries weren't life-threatening. By the time police burst through the door 3 minutes later, the situation was completely under control. Officers took statements, arrested the 3 men, praised Mia for her quick thinking and brave action. She deflected the praise. Just wanted everyone to get home safe tonight. As the restaurant slowly returned to normal, shaken customers finishing meals or leaving, staff cleaning up broken plates. Mia made her rounds, checking on people, reassuring the traumatized elderly hostess, bringing water to the woman who'd been crying. Luca couldn't stop watching. Finally, she came to his table. "Gentlemen, I'm so sorry about the disruption. Can I get you anything? Dessert? Coffee? On the house, of course." "That was impressive," Luca said. She shrugged, that same deflection. Training kicked in. Glad no one got hurt. Military? Army. Medic. Served in Afghanistan. She refilled his water glass. "Anything else?" "Your name. It's on my name tag. Mia. Mia." The way he said it made her pause. There was something in his dark eyes, intensity, interest, something she couldn't quite name. "I recognize you." She met his gaze. "I recognize you, too. You helped me once. About 6 months ago. Outside, there were some men. I remember. You were crying, shaking, looked terrified. Something flickered across her face. I was having a bad night. Clearly you're capable of handling yourself. What was that about?" "That's personal." Her voice firmed. "Was there anything else you needed?" Luca pulled a business card from his wallet, slid it across the table. "I'd like to speak with you. Privately. After your shift." Mia glanced at the card. Recognition flashed across her face. Luca Moretti, CEO, Moretti Enterprises. She knew that name. Everyone in Brooklyn knew that name. "I don't think that's appropriate, Mr. Moretti." "It's not what you think. I have a proposition. A job offer. I have a job. Not like this one." He leaned back. "I have a 5-year-old son. He needs protection. Someone trained, capable, brave. Someone exactly like what I just witnessed. I'll pay you triple what you make here. I'm a waitress, not a bodyguard. You're a combat veteran working as a waitress. That's a waste of your skills." Mia's jaw tightened. "My skills came with a price I'm still paying. I chose a quiet life. And I'm offering you a lucrative one. One conversation. That's all I'm asking. Hear me out. If you're not interested, you walk away. No obligation." She wanted to say no. Every instinct screamed to walk away from Luca Moretti and whatever world he inhabited. But triple her salary? Her PTSD therapy was expensive. The nightmares were getting worse. She needed better treatment, and she couldn't afford it on a waitress's wages. One conversation. She said finally, "That's all. That's all I'm asking." He gestured to the card. "My number's on there. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. I work the lunch shift. I'll be done by 1:30. "Perfect. My driver will pick you up here." After she walked away, Angelo whistled low. "Boss, did you see what I saw?" "I saw." Luca's voice was rough with something Angelo had never heard before. "She's military trained, combat veteran, disarmed 3 armed men like it was nothing, and she works as a waitress." "Not for long." Luca stared at the card he'd given her, identical to the one in his wallet. "I'm hiring her. To protect Marco? Among other things." Luca's eyes tracked me as she moved through the restaurant, back to her normal duties like she hadn't just taken down 3 armed robbers. 6 months ago, he dismissed her as weak, fragile, a woman who needed protecting. He'd been so wrong. She wasn't weak. She was strong in ways he hadn't imagined, and he wanted her, not just for Marco's protection, though that was real enough. His son was in danger every day because of who Luca was, what he controlled, the enemies he'd made. But there was something else. Something about the way she'd moved, the calm authority in her voice, the warrior hidden beneath the waitress uniform. She intrigued him, attracted him, made him want to uncover every secret she was hiding. "Boss!" Angelo asked carefully, "You sure about this? Bringing a stranger into your home? Around Marco?" "She's not a stranger. She's exactly what we need." Lucas stood, leaving cash for the bill plus a generous tip. "Let's go. I need prepare." As they left, Luca glanced back one more time. Mia was serving another table, smiling at an elderly couple, completely professional. But he'd seen what lay beneath that calm exterior. A warrior, a protector, someone who ran toward danger instead of away from it. Someone perfect for what he needed. Someone who might be perfect for him. He didn't know that hiring her would change everything. That the weak woman he'd once helped would become the strong one who saved them all, including saving him from himself. The black Mercedes pulled up outside Rossini's at precisely 2 p.m. Mia had changed out of her uniform into simple jeans and a sweater, pulled her hair into a ponytail, tried to look professional despite her nerves. This was a terrible idea. Luca Moretti wasn't just a businessman. The Moretti name carried weight in Brooklyn, and not the good kind. Whispers of organized crime, allegations that never quite stuck, money that flowed through legitimate businesses but came from darker sources. She should walk away. But triple salary meant better therapy, meant managing her PTSD instead of just surviving it, meant maybe, finally, getting her life back. The driver, a large man in a dark suit, opened the back door. "Miss Torres, Mr. Moretti is expecting you." The drive took 20 minutes, leaving the commercial district for an exclusive neighborhood where homes became estates. They pulled up to massive iron gates that opened automatically. The Moretti estate was stunning. Mediterranean-style mansion, meticulously landscaped grounds, fountains and gardens that belonged in magazines. Mia's waitress salary could never touch this world. The driver led her to the front entrance where a woman in her 60s waited. Professional attire, kind eyes, worn hands. "Miss Torres? I'm Teresa, Marco's nanny. Mr. Moretti is in his study. This way, please." The interior was elegant but surprisingly warm. Family photos on walls. Children's drawings on a refrigerator visible through an open kitchen door. This wasn't just a mansion. It was a home. Teresa knocked on a heavy wooden door. "Come in." The study was masculine. Dark wood, leather furniture, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Lucas sat behind a massive desk, but stood when she entered. He was even more imposing here, in his element. Tailored suit, commanding presence, dark eyes that missed nothing. "Mia, thank you for coming." He gestured to the chairs facing his desk. "Please sit." She sat, back straight, ready to bolt if this went sideways. "Can I offer you anything? Coffee? Water? I'm fine. You said you had a proposition." Straight to business. He appreciated that. "I have a 5-year-old son. Marco, his mother, my wife, died 2 years ago. Childbirth complications." Something painful flickered across his face. "Marco is everything to me. Everything. I'm sorry for your loss." "Thank you." He moved around the desk, leaned against it, closer to her but not threatening. "Marco is in danger. Constant danger. Because of who I am, what I do, the enemies I've made in business. I need someone who can protect him. Someone trained, brave, capable. You have security. I saw your guards. Guards protect the perimeter. I need someone with him. Someone he can trust. Someone who won't just take a bullet for him, though I need that too, but someone who can prevent the bullet in the first place. You need a bodyguard. I need a nanny who can fight." Luca's gaze intensified. Yesterday, you disarmed 3 armed men in under 30 seconds. You stayed calm under pressure. You protected everyone in that restaurant. That's exactly what I need for my son. I'm not a nanny, Mr. Moretti. I'm a combat medic. I'm a waitress now. Why? The question was simple but loaded. Because war broke me, Mia said flatly. I came home with PTSD. Nightmares. Anxiety. Triggers. I can't handle weapons anymore without flashbacks. I can't be around violence. I chose a quiet life because I'm trying to heal. That night 6 months ago, when my men helped you, that was a PTSD episode, triggered by those drunk men grabbing me. Brought back memories of... She stopped. That's not relevant. It's completely relevant. You weren't weak that night. You were wounded. There's a difference. His understanding surprised her. I can't be what you need, Mia said. I'm damaged. You're healing. That's not the same as broken. Luca crossed his arms. Let me be clear about what I'm offering. You'd live here, in a private wing of the house. Your own suite, bedroom, bathroom, sitting room. You'd have access to the full estate. Your job would be to stay with Marco during the day. Take him to school, pick him up, supervise his activities, keep him safe. Teresa's getting older, wants to retire. She'll help you transition. That's just a nanny job. With one critical difference. If someone tries to take him, hurt him, threaten him, you'll have the skills to stop them. That's what I'm paying for. The protection piece. How much? $90,000 a year, plus room and board. Full benefits. Health insurance that covers PTSD treatment. Whatever you need. Best doctors, best therapy, whatever it takes. Mia's breath caught. $90,000 plus therapy coverage? That was life-changing. Why me? You could hire professional bodyguards. Bodyguards look like bodyguards. They scare Marco. He's 5. He's already lost his mother. He's anxious, has nightmares, needs stability and warmth. I need someone who can protect him and comfort him. Someone trained but kind. A warrior with a gentle heart. Luca's voice softened. I saw how you treated those restaurant customers after the robbery. Checking on people. Reassuring them. You're strong and compassionate. That's rare. You don't know me. I know enough. Will you meet him, Marco, before you decide? Mia knew she should say no, should walk away from this world. But $90,000, plus therapy, plus actually using her skills for something that mattered. Protecting an innocent child. Okay, I'll meet him. Luca's smile was devastating. Thank you. He led her through the house to a sunroom overlooking the gardens. There, playing with toy cars on the floor, was a little boy with dark curly hair and his father's eyes. Marco, Luca said gently, someone I want you to meet. The boy looked up and Mia's heart clenched. He was beautiful, but more than that, he looked sad, lonely, like a child carrying too much weight. This is Miss Mia. She might come work for us, help take care of you. Marco studied her seriously. Like Teresa? Like Teresa, yes. Okay. The boy returned to his cars, then paused. Do you like cars? Mia sat on the floor near him, not too close, giving him space. I do. I had a toy car just like that red one when I was little. Really? Really. It was my favorite. Marco handed her the red car. You can play with it. They played for 20 minutes. Marco showed her his collection, told her elaborate stories about each car's adventures, warmed up slowly. He was sweet, gentle, a little anxious. She recognized the signs, but he had a good heart. When Teresa came to take Marco for his snack, he hugged the car to his chest. Will you come back, Miss Mia? Would you like that? Yes. Then I'll come back. His smile was worth everything. Back in the study, Luca watched her carefully. He liked you. Marco doesn't warm up to people easily. He's a special boy. He is. Mia, I need an answer. Will you take the job? She should say no. Should run from this world, this man, this danger. But that little boy, his sad eyes, his need for someone to protect him, care for him and her need for healing, for a purpose, for a way forward from the war that still haunted her. "I have conditions," she said. "Name them. I'm not your employee to control. I protect Marco and care for him, but you don't own me. I'm not yours to order around outside of my job duties." "Agreed. I need 1 day off per week. To see my therapist, have my own life." "Absolutely. If I see something that puts Marco at real risk, truly endangers him, I want the authority to remove him from that situation, even if it contradicts your orders." Luca hesitated. That was asking for a lot of trust. But he'd seen her in action, seen her protect an entire restaurant full of strangers. "Agreed. On one condition. You communicate with me. Tell me what you're doing and why. We're partners in keeping him safe." "Partners," Mia repeated. "Okay, I can do that. Then we have a deal?" She extended her hand. "We have a deal." His hand engulfed hers, warm, strong, sending an unexpected jolt through her. Their eyes met, held. Something passed between them. Recognition, attraction, danger. Mia pulled her hand back. "When do I start? Is tomorrow too soon?" "Tomorrow's fine." As she left, Luca watched from the window, watched her climb into the Mercedes, watched it drive away. Angelo appeared at his shoulder. "You hired her?" "I did." "Boss, you know this is crazy, right? Bringing a stranger into your home, around Marco?" "She's not a stranger. She's exactly what we need." "If you say so." Angelo paused. "Just be careful. With Marco. With you." After Angelo left, Luca sat in his study, thinking about dark eyes that had seen too much war, about strength hidden beneath quiet grace, about a woman who'd surprised him completely. He'd hired her to protect Marco. But part of him wondered if he'd really hired her, because he couldn't stop thinking about her. Either way, Mia Torres was about to enter his world, and nothing would ever be the same. The Mafia boss hired the warrior Waitress to protect his son, but as she enters this dangerous world, will she save the child or lose herself? If you're hooked on this story of hidden strength and unexpected redemption, smash that subscribe button. Hit like if you believe in second chances. Comment. Would you take a job protecting a Mafia boss's child? Turn on notifications for next chapter, where the real danger begins. 3 weeks after Mia moved into the Moretti estate, she and Marco had established a routine that felt almost normal. Mornings, she woke him gently, helped him dress, made breakfast while he chattered about his dreams. They discovered a shared love of pancakes. School runs, she drove him in the armored SUV Luca provided, walked him to his classroom, chatted with other parents who assumed she was Marco's nanny, which she was, technically. Afternoons, homework, then play in the garden. Marco teaching her about his favorite flowers. Building forts. Playing cards. Reading books cuddled on the couch. Evenings, dinner together. Sometimes just her and Marco. Sometimes Luca joined them when he finished work early. Bath time, bedtime stories. Tucking him in with night lights because he was afraid of the dark. It was peaceful, healing, even. Mia's nightmares had decreased. Being needed, being useful, caring for the sweet child. It gave her purpose she hadn't felt since leaving the army. Marco had blossomed too. His anxiety lessened. He smiled more, laughed more. He'd started calling her Miss Mia with genuine affection. Teresa had retired with tears and thanks, telling Mia, "You're good for him." For both of them. Luca, that was complicated. He was around more than she'd expected, joining them for dinner, reading Marco bedtime stories when he was home, watching them play in the garden from his study window, and the way he looked at her, intense, heated, like he was seeing past every wall she'd built. They'd had one conversation about her PTSD, late one night, when she'd woken screaming from a nightmare, and he'd heard from his wing of the house, come to check on her. She'd been embarrassed, shaking, defensive. He'd been kind. "Tell me about it, if you want." And somehow she had told him about Afghanistan, about holding dying soldiers, about the explosion that killed 3 men she was treating, about coming home to a world that didn't understand, couldn't understand. He'd listen without judgment. Just listen. "You're not broken," he'd said when she finished. "You're a warrior who's seen battle. That leaves marks. But marks aren't the same as broken." It was the first time she felt truly seen since coming home. But she couldn't let herself fall for him. He was her employer, a criminal, a man living in a world of violence she'd sworn to escape. Still, when their hands brushed passing Marco's toys, when he smiled at her across the dinner table, when she caught him watching her with those dark eyes, she felt things she shouldn't feel. Then the danger arrived. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Mia picked Marco up from school as usual, other children running to waiting parents, teachers waving goodbye. Normal. Marco chattered about his day. They'd learned about dinosaurs. His favorite was T-Rex. Could they watch a dinosaur movie tonight? Mia listened, smiling, as they walked toward the SUV in the pickup area. That's when she saw them. Two men. Wrong for this neighborhood. Wrong for a school. Too focused, too purposeful, moving directly toward them. Her military training screamed. "Threat." "Marco," she said calmly, still smiling. "Let's play a game. Remember the emergency game I taught you?" They practiced it like a drill. Fun. Just pretend. Marco's eyes widened. "The one where we run?" "That's the one. When I say go, you run to Mrs. Henderson." She gestured to a teacher standing by the entrance. "And tell her to call your daddy." "Okay." "But it's just a game, sweetheart. Like hide and seek. Go." Marco ran. The two men changed direction, moving faster toward the running child. Mia intercepted. She stepped directly into their path, blocking them from Marco, hands loose at her sides, ready. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" "Move," one of them said. "We're just picking up our nephew." "I don't think so. I know every parent and guardian at the school. I've never seen you before." "Lady, move. Last warning." Behind her, she heard Mrs. Henderson's alarmed voice on the phone. "Need to speak with Mr. Moretti? It's urgent." The first man reached for her, trying to shove her aside. Mistake. Mia moved on instinct, muscle memory from training, from war, from 1,000 drills. She redirected his momentum, used his own force against him. He stumbled, hit the ground hard. The second man lunged. She'd promised herself she'd left violence behind, sworn she wouldn't fight anymore. But Marco was running toward that teacher, looking back with frightened eyes, and these men were trying to take him. Her choice was clear. Training took over. The second man outweighed her by 60 pounds. Didn't matter. She went low, swept his legs, used his weight against him. He went down. Other parents were screaming now. Someone yelling to call 911. Mia knelt on the first man's back, his arm twisted in a control hold. "Who sent you?" "Go to hell." She applied pressure. He gasped in pain. "Who sent you?" "Russo. Russo family. We were just supposed to scare the kid, make a point." Police sirens wailed in the distance. 3 SUVs screeched into the parking lot. Luca's men poured out, weapons drawn. And then Luca himself, face white with fear, eyes wild until he saw Marco safe with the teacher, then saw Mia kneeling on top of the would-be kidnappers. "Are you hurt?" he called to her. "I'm fine. Marco's safe." Luca went his son first, scooped him up, held him tight, murmuring reassurances. Then he approached Mia. "You stopped them." "It's my job." "It's more than a job." His voice was rough with emotion. "You saved my son." Police arrived. Statements were taken. The 2 men arrested, though Mia suspected they'd make bail quickly and disappear. Later, after they were home, after Marco was bathed and fed and read to and tucked into bed with extra night lights and promises that Miss Mia would check on him every hour, after his breathing finally evened into sleep, Luca found Mia in the garden. She stood by the fountain, shaking slightly from adrenaline crash, arms wrapped around herself. "You're trembling," Luca said quietly. "Adrenaline. It'll pass." "Mia." He moved closer. "Are you okay? Really, I promised myself I'd left violence behind." Her voice cracked. "I was done fighting, done hurting people. I came home from war and swore I'd never." You protected my son. That's not violence. That's love. Is it? She turned to face him. Or am I just good at hurting people? Maybe that's all I am. That's the PTSD talking. You know better. Do I? Tears filled her eyes. I took those men down without even thinking. It was automatic. Easy. What does that say about me? It says you're a warrior who protects the innocent. Luca closed the distance between them, cupped her face in his hands. You could have let my men handle it. Could have run with Marco. But you stood between danger and a child. That's heroism, Mia, not violence. Luca, I'm falling for you. The words burst out. I know I shouldn't. I know you work for me, that this is inappropriate, that my world is dangerous and you deserve better. But I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop. Don't. Mia stepped back, his hands falling away. Don't do this. Why not? Because you're a criminal. Her voice rose. Because I know what you really do. The restaurants and real estate are fronts. You run organized crime, violence, illegal operations, everything I swore to leave behind. I know what I am. Luca's jaw tightened. But I'm also a father who loves a son, a man who's trying to keep his family safe in a world that won't let me just walk away. Then change the world. Leave this life. It's not that simple. It never is. Mia's voice turned cold. But the truth is, as long as you stay in this life, Marco will always be in danger. Today, prove that. They came for him at school. At school, Luca, how many more times will I have to fight off kidnappers? When does it end? When I eliminate the threats. There will always be threats. That's the nature of your business. Rivals, enemies. People want to hurt you by hurting him. She gestured toward the house where Marco slept. That beautiful, innocent boy deserves better than growing up in fear. You think I don't know that? Luca's voice rose now, too. You think I don't lie awake at night, terrified something will happen to him? That's why I hired you. I can't protect him from your choices. Mia shouted. I can fight off kidnappers, sure. But I can't protect him from growing up in a world where violence is normal, where his father's business gets people killed, where he has to have bodyguards and armored cars just to go to kindergarten. Silence fell between them, heavy and painful. Finally, Luca spoke quietly. What do you want from me? I want you to choose him. Really choose him. Leave this life. Go legitimate. Build something you can be proud of. Something that doesn't put him at risk every single day. And if I can't, if I'm trapped in this world, then you're right. We can't happen. Because I won't watch you make choices that endanger that child. And I won't let myself love a man who values power more than his son's safety. She walked back into the house, leaving Luca standing alone in the garden. He stood there for a long time, thinking about her words, about Marco's frightened face today, about the moment he'd thought he might lose his son, about what he was willing to sacrifice and what he wasn't. The attack on his estate came 4 days after the school incident. Marco had nightmares every night since, waking up screaming, crying for his mother, terrified the bad men would come back. Mia slept in his room now, on a small sofa by his bed, holding his hand until he fell asleep, waking instantly when he cried out. Luca came too, father and protector sitting together in the dark, comforting the boy, both aching at his fear. Things between Luca and Mia were strained, professional. They didn't speak about his confession or her ultimatum, but the tension simmered. Tuesday evening. Dinner on the patio, Mia, Luca, and Marco. The boy had finally smiled today, laughed at a joke Mia told. Progress. Luca's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned. I need to take this. I'll be right back. He stepped away, answered tersely. What? Angelo's urgent voice. Boss, we have a problem. The Russos are making a move. 3 vehicles spotted heading toward the estate. Armed men. ETA 5 minutes. Luca's blood went cold. Activate all security. Lock it down. Now! He turned back to Mia and Marco. Mia saw his face, read it instantly. What's wrong? Inside. Both of you. Now. Luca, now! They moved. Mia scooped up Marco, who, sense of fear, started to cry, and ran for the house. Luca's men appeared from everywhere. The estate security system activated. Metal shutters rolling down over windows. Gates locking. Armed guards taking positions. Get them to the safe room, Luca ordered. Stay with them until I give the all clear. I can help, Mia said. I'm trained. You protect my son. That's your job. Let my men handle this. Angelo appeared. Boss, they're at the gates, demanding we let them in. Russo himself is out there. Luca grabbed Mia's shoulders. Safe room. Now, don't open that door for anyone but me. Understand? She nodded, even though every instinct screamed to fight. The safe room was in the basement. Reinforced walls, separate ventilation. Supplies for days. Mia got Marco inside, locked the heavy door. Miss Mia, I'm scared, Marco whimpered. I know, sweetheart, but we're safe here. This room is like a fort. Nothing can get to us. What about Daddy? Your daddy is very strong. He'll be fine. She held the boy close, listening to the sounds from above. Shouting. Gunfire. Oh, God, gunfire. Marco started sobbing. Mia held him tighter, sang softly, a lullaby her own mother used to sing. The firefight lasted 20 minutes that felt like hours. Then silence. Then Luca's voice outside the door. Mia, it's me. It's safe. She opened the door. Luca stood there, disheveled, blood on his sleeve, but alive. You're hurt, Mia said. Graves. Angelo's calling a doctor. Is Marco. The boy launched himself at his father, sobbing. Luca caught him, held him close, murmured reassurances. But Marco couldn't stop crying, couldn't stop shaking. He'd heard the gunfire, heard men shouting, heard violence. Later, after the doctor confirmed Luca's wound was minor, after the adrenaline faded, after Luca's men secured a perimeter and removed the dead Russo soldiers, Marco still wouldn't stop crying. Nothing worked. Not reassurances, not hugs, not promises. He was terrified, traumatized. Mia finally got him to sleep around midnight, exhausted from crying. She found Luca in his study, staring at nothing, a glass of whiskey untouched in his hand. He finally asleep? Luca asked quietly. Yes, but Luca, he's traumatized. He witnessed war, in his own home. That will leave marks. I know. His voice was hollow. This is what I meant. Mia sat across from him. This world, this life, it traumatizes children. Marco shouldn't have to live like this. You think I don't know that? Luca's control cracked. You think I don't hate myself for putting him through this? Then leave it. Her voice rose. Walk away. Choose him. It's not that. Don't say it's not that simple. Mia shouted. It is that simple. You choose to stay in this world. You choose power and control and criminal empire over your son's safety. I'm protecting him. By being the source of danger? She stood, furious. As long as you're in the Mafia, he's a target. Today proved it. They came here, Luca, to his home, the one place he should feel safe. And he heard guns, heard violence, and now he's upstairs having nightmares because his father's business got people killed on his lawn. What do you want from me? I want you to be the father he deserves. Mia's voice broke. I want you to choose him. Really choose him. Leave this life. Go legitimate. Build something clean and safe. I want you to love him more than you love power. Ideal, love him more. Luca roared. He's everything to me. Then prove it. Walk away. Silence crashed between them. Luca stared at her, breathing hard. Everything she'd said hitting him like physical blows. You're asking me to give up everything. I'm asking you to choose what matters. Mia's voice softened, but didn't waver. Empire or son. Power or child. The Mafia or real life. You can't have both. Luca, not anymore. Not after tonight. And if I do, if I leave everything, then maybe, she swallowed, then maybe we have a chance. You, me, Marco, a real family. A safe family where a 5-year-old doesn't have to hear gunfights in his own home. You'd stay? Even knowing what I was. I'd stay for the man you choose to become. Her eyes held his. Not the criminal you are. The father you could be. The good man I see underneath all this darkness. If you choose redemption, Luca, if you choose your son, then yes, I'd stay. Luca stood, moved the window, stared out at the grounds his men were still securing. His empire, built on blood and fear and power. His son, upstairs, sleeping fitfully, traumatized by the life Luca had chosen. The choice wasn't simple, but it was clear. I need to think, he said finally, about what you're asking. Take all the time you need. Mia moved toward the door. But know this, I'm not leaving Marco. No matter what you decide, I'm staying with him, protecting him, because he needs me. But us, you and me, that only happens if you choose him, really choose him. After she left, Lucas sat in the dark, thinking about his father's legacy, about the empire he'd inherited, about the power he'd built, and about the little boy upstairs who flinched at loud noises now, who had nightmares, who asked why bad men wanted to hurt his daddy. He thought about Mia's words, about choice, about redemption, about what kind of man he wanted to be. By dawn, he'd made his decision. He called Angelo, set up a meeting. Every family leader, every captain, everyone who matters. Boss? Why? Because I'm stepping down. Silence on the other end. Boss, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious. I'm leaving the family. You'll take over. I'm going legitimate. For my son. For... He stopped. Just set up the meeting. After he hung up, Lucas sat in the quiet house, listening to the sound of his son sleeping upstairs. He was about to walk away from everything he'd built, everything he'd inherited, everything he'd known. But he was walking towards something better, a life where Marco could sleep without fear, where the woman he was falling for could love him without compromising her values, where he could look in the mirror and be proud. Redemption had never seemed possible, until Mia showed him it was. Now he just had to be brave enough to choose it. The Mafia boss is making the most dangerous choice of his life, leaving everything behind for his son and the woman he loves. But will the Mafia let him walk away? Can he really leave the criminal world? If you're on the edge of your seat, subscribe now. Hit like if you believe Luca should choose redemption. Comment. Would you give up an empire for family? The final chapter reveals everything. Don't miss it. The meeting happened 3 days later in a private room of one of Luca's restaurants. Every leader of the Moretti crime family, every captain, Angelo, the old guard who'd served under Luca's father. Luca stood at the head of the table. I'm stepping down, he said without preamble. Angelo will take over as head of the family. I'm transferring all criminal operations to him. I'm keeping only the legitimate businesses, the restaurants, the real estate holdings. I'm out. Silence. Then chaos. You can't just leave. What about your father's legacy? The family needs you. Luca raised his hand. Silence fell. My father's legacy got my wife killed. Stress from this life, from pregnancy while living in constant danger. She died bringing our second child into this world, a world so dangerous that I lost them both. He let that sink in. My son is 5 years old. Last week, rival family members tried to kidnap him from school. 3 days ago, armed men attacked our home. Marco heard gunfire. He has nightmares now. Wakes up screaming. Asks why bad men want to hurt his daddy. Luca's voice hardened. I will not let this life destroy him the way it destroyed his mother. I'm choosing my son over the empire. I'm choosing safety over power. I'm choosing redemption over criminal legacy. One of the old guard, Sal, who'd served under his father, spoke quietly. Your father would be ashamed. My father is dead. Marco is alive. I choose the living. Angelo stood. I'll lead well. I'll honor the Moretti name. But Luca's earned the right to leave. He's given this family 20 years. His father's death put him in this chair when he was barely a man himself. He's done his duty. more than his duty. Support came from unexpected corners. Younger members nodding, fathers with children of their own understanding. But resistance remained. If you leave, you're vulnerable, someone warned. Without the family's protection, I'll take that risk. Rival families will see weakness. Let them. Luca's voice was steel. I'm leaving criminal operations. I'm not leaving my spine. Anyone who comes to my son will learn the difference. The vote happened. Not unanimous. Some opposed, some resentful, but majority agreed. Luca was out. That night, he told Mia. She was reading to Marco in his room, a story about brave knights and dragons. The boy's eyes were drooping, finally peaceful. When Marco fell asleep, Luca gestured for her to follow him out. I did it, he said quietly in the hallway. Family meeting. I'm out. Angelo takes over. I'm keeping only legitimate businesses. No more crime. No more violence. I chose Marco. I chose redemption. Tears filled Mia's eyes. You really did it. You asked me to choose. I chose. She threw her arms around him. He caught her, held her tight, buried his face in her hair. Thank you, she whispered, for choosing him, for being brave enough. You made me brave enough. He pulled back to look at her. Mia, I love you. I've fallen completely, irrevocably in love with you. Your strength, your compassion, the way you protect my son like he's yours. You show me what real courage looks like. I love you too, Mia breathed. I tried not to, tried to keep boundaries. But somewhere between disarming robbers and reading bedtime stories, I fell for you, for the good man underneath the criminal, the father who loves his son enough to give up everything. They kissed, soft at first, then deeper. Years of loneliness, months of tension, finally released. When they pulled apart, both were breathing hard. What happens now? Mia asked. Now we figure out what comes next. Together. But the Russo family had other ideas. 2 days later, they made their move. It was Saturday morning. Mia was with Marco at the neighborhood park, finally feeling safe enough for normal activities. Other parents, other children, sunshine and laughter. She saw them too late. 3 cars, men with guns. Leading them, Russo himself, the rival family head, Marco. Mia scooped up the boy, ran. Other parents screaming, grabbing their children, scattering. Russo's men surrounded them. Guns out. Mia put Marco behind her, face him down. You don't want to do this, she said calmly, even though her heart hammered. Not in front of witnesses. Not with police 5 minutes away. Luca thinks he can just leave? Russo snarled. Thinks he can walk away without consequences? His weakness will destroy the balance of power. This ends here. We take the kid. We make him come back. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. The guns raised. Mia calculated angles, odds, possibilities. 3 armed men. 1 woman. 1 child to protect. Bad odds, but she'd face worse in Afghanistan. Then a voice, cold, deadly, from behind Russo. Drop the weapons. Now. Angelo, with 20 Moretti soldiers, all armed. Russo. Angelo's voice was ice. Luca left the criminal operations. He's out. But harm his family, and you deal with all of us. Every Moretti soldier. Every ally. You want that war. Russo looked at the guns surrounding him. Outmanned. Outgunned. This isn't over, he spat. Yes, Angelo said quietly. It is. Luca's out, but he's still family. Our family. Protected by all of us. You touch him. You touch his son. You touch her. He gestured to Mia. And we burn your organization to the ground. We have peace among families because of balance. You break that peace. You die. Choose wisely. Russo backed down. Police arrived moments later. Russo and his men fled before arrests could be made. Angelo approached Mia. You okay? Thanks to you. Luca's my friend. His family is our family. He crouched to Marco's level. You okay, little man? Marco nodded, brave despite his fear. Good. Let's get you home. Back at the estate. Luca crushed both of them in a hug. I heard what happened. God, I thought. We're safe, Mia assured him. Angelo got there in time. Russo won't try again, Angelo said. I made the family's position clear. Luca may be out of criminal operations, but he's still one of us. Anyone hurts him or they face all of us. After Angelo left, after Marco was settled with a movie and snacks, Luca pulled Mia into his study. This is my fault. I left the family, but I didn't protect you from a fallout. Stop. Mia cupped his face. You made the right choice. The Russos tried something, it failed, and now they know the consequences. We're safe. Luca, you're out. You chose redemption. Don't second-guess that. I'm terrified I'll fail you. Fail Marco. That leaving the Mafia isn't enough. Is enough. You're enough. She kissed him softly. You're building a new life. Legitimate businesses. A safe home for Marco. A future you could be proud of. That's redemption, Luca. That's what bravery looks like. 3 months later, Luca proposed. In the same park where Russo had threatened them. Reclaiming that space with something beautiful. Marco helped him plan it. A picnic, flowers, the ring hidden in a cupcake. Mia nearly swallowed it. They all laughed. Mia Torres, Luca said, kneeling while Marco bounced excitedly beside him. You saved my life. Not from bullets, but from the darkness I was drowning in. You showed me what real strength looks like. You protected my son, and somewhere along the way, you became his mother in every way that matters. Will you marry me? Make us a real family. Yes. Mia laughed through tears. Yes, absolutely yes. Marco cheered. Miss Mia is going to be my mama for real. The wedding was small. Close friends. Angelo stood as best man, the criminal who'd helped him transition to legitimate life. Mia wore a simple white dress. Marco was ring bearer, taking his job very seriously. When they exchanged vows, both cried. You made me want to be better, Luca said. You gave me the courage to choose what mattered. I love you for your strength, your compassion, your fierce protection of those you love. Thank you for giving me a second chance. You gave yourself that chance, Mia said. I just showed you it was possible. I love you for being brave enough to change, for choosing your son, for becoming the man I knew you could be. They kissed, and the small gathering erupted in applause. 1 year later, the Moretti restaurant empire had expanded. 3 new locations, all legitimate, all thriving. Luca was a respected businessman now, not a feared criminal. Mia ran a nonprofit, helping veterans with PTSD transition to civilian life, using her own experience to guide others. Marco was 7 now, happy, adjusted, thriving in school. No more nightmares. And Mia was 8 months pregnant. They stood in the same restaurant where it all began, where Mia had disarmed 3 robbers, where Luca had first seen past her weakness to her true strength. The same table where he'd sat that night. Look at us, Mia said, rubbing her belly. Respectable family. Legitimate business. Baby on the way. All because you had the courage to stop a robbery, Luca mused. All because you had the courage to change. Marco tugged their sleeves. Daddy, Mama, tell me again how you met. They'd told in the edited version. Left out the violence, kept the heroism. Well, Luca started. There was a robbery. Everyone panicked. Except Mama. Marco finished proudly. She was brave. She was... Luca agreed, squeezing Mia's hand. The bravest person in the room. And she still is. You're both brave, Marco insisted. And you know what? The kid was right. It had taken courage for Mia to fight her PTSD, to protect a child, to open her heart to love again after war had nearly broken her. It had taken courage for Luca to walk away from an empire, to choose a son over power, to become the man his family deserved. Different kinds of courage, but courage nonetheless. Their daughter was born 3 weeks later. They named her Grace, because grace is what Luca had been given, a chance to start over, to be redeemed. Because grace is what Mia had shown, forgiveness for a man's dark past, faith in who could become. Because grace is what they both needed, the strength to heal, to change, to choose love over fear. 5 years later, they returned to that restaurant one more time. Marco was 12 now. Grace was 4. And baby son Michael was 2. Yes, they had another surprise. They sat at that same corner table. This is where it all started, Mia told the children. Where everything changed. Because of the bad men? Grace asked. They'd told her the story age-appropriately. Because Mama was brave, Marco said. And because Daddy chose to be better. We both chose, Mia corrected. We chose each other. We chose family. We chose redemption over revenge, healing over hurt, love over fear. Luca raised his glass. To second chances. To new beginnings, Mia added. To being brave, the kids chorused. They clinked glasses. Sparkling cider for the kids, wine for the parents. Across the restaurant, Mia saw other diners. Normal people living normal lives. She was one of them now. No more war. No more violence. No more waking up with nightmares. Just a family. A good man who'd found redemption. Children who knew they were loved and safe. It was everything she'd dreamed of during those dark days in Afghanistan. Everything she'd thought she'd lost. And it had all started because she'd been brave enough to disarm 3 robbers. Because a Mafia boss had been brave enough to see past his first impression. Because both of them had been brave enough to choose love, choose change, choose redemption. Sometimes the worst moment of our lives are simply doorways to the best versions of ourselves. Sometimes the people we judge as weak are the strongest among us. Sometimes criminals can become heroes. And sometimes all it takes is one brave moment to change everything. Mia looked at her family, her husband who'd left an empire for love, her children who'd never know the darkness their father had escaped, and smiled. She'd been called weak once, but she'd shown them all what real strength looked like. And so had he. Together, they'd built something beautiful from the ashes of their broken pasts. A family, a future, a love that had redeemed them both. And it had all started with a simple truth. Everyone panicked during the robbery, except the waitress the Mafia boss recognized. And nothing would ever be the same. Final cité. From a robbery to redemption. From weakness to warrior. From criminal to hero. Mia showed the Mafia boss that true strength is healing from war. And Luca proved that real courage is choosing family over power. If this story moved you, subscribe now. Hit like if you believe in second chances and the power of love to transform. Share with anyone who needs to hear that we're all stronger than we think, that redemption is always possible, and that choosing what's right over what's easy is the bravest thing anyone can do. Comment. What's the bravest choice you've ever made? Thank you for joining Mia and Luca's journey from danger to peace, from broken to healed, from darkness to light. Remember, don't judge people by their worst moments. You might miss their greatest strength. Until next time, stay brave.